Welcome back, folks, to the Random Video Blog, where every single Friday I, Graham G.S. Matthews, give my rambling thoughts on the wrestling world, share a few stories, etc., etc. With only 23 days to go until WWE WrestleMania 32, I thought it was only fitting that the next couple of weeks here on the video blog will be WrestleMania themed. Of course, my favorite WrestleMania matches. Last year I did favorite WrestleMania theme songs, favorite WrestleMania shows. Today I'm doing favorite WrestleMania video packages. Now I know RJ has covered this on my website, nextaiwrestling.net, before, as has John, so I figured I would throw my name in the hat as well with my favorite video packages in WrestleMania history. And I'll preface this by saying these are my favorite video packages from the WrestleManias that I have been a fan for. So dating back to 2009, I've been a fan since 2008, but after WrestleMania, starting April of that year, a couple weeks removed, almost 2 or 3 weeks exactly removed from WrestleMania 24. So we're only going back to WrestleMania 25, and again, I've said this time and time again, best and favorite are two very, very different things. I could say my favorite video packages, and it could be, Zack Ryder versus Dolph Ziggler, my favorite video package, even though that was never a WrestleMania match, but you know what I mean. And you could do that, or you could do, the best, which is very subjective, whatever. So here are my favorite video packages in WrestleMania history. So like I said, I do want to preface this by saying only from when I've been a fan, so WrestleMania 25 to present day to WrestleMania 31. I am not going to include Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock from WrestleMania 17, My Way or the Highway, just because it was so amazing. It's undoubtedly my number one, so I don't want to include it here because that would make it pretty obvious. So here are my top 5 favorite video packages in WrestleMania history, starting with number 5 from WrestleMania 27. Now this was not for the match itself, but for one superstar in particular, The Miz. Now, I know, even me being a Misfit, I do not agree with the fact that The Miz, I don't agree with that, The Miz, should he have main evented WrestleMania that year? Definitely not. I think that, that honor should have gone to someone else, maybe CM Punk or somebody else. But it happened. The Miz is a former WrestleMania main eventer, walked into the event and out of the event of WWE as WWE champion after defeating John Cena, albeit with some help from The Rock. But like I said, the hype for the match I thought was pretty decent. The match itself sucked, as did the entire show. But I remember watching WrestleMania 27 live at a friend's house, at a family friend's house, and just being, just enthralled with the video package they put together for The Miz. And The Miz has talked about this before, too, in podcasts and stuff like that, interviews, because he doesn't remember the match itself. He was concussed halfway through, and John Cena pulverized him through, like, the barricade or something like that, and Miz's head bounced off the concrete ground on the steel floor or whatever at ringside, so he doesn't even remember the match itself, which is crazy considering he won. But he does remember the amazing video package they put together for him, going into the event as WWE champion, set to "Hate Me Now" by Nas, or however you pronounce it. I'm not great with music, but you know what I'm talking about. Great song, fit The Miz to perfection. And as I mentioned, it wasn't promoting the match itself, but rather Miz's rise to superstardom, starting from his days on The Real World to coming into WWE as a part of the Diva Search and as the host, not the Diva Search itself, his days in the Dirt Sheet as U.S. Champion, Mr. Money in the Bank, and then finally the WWE Champion, and just the climb to success that he had in WWE. Whether you agree with it or not, the video package itself was extremely well put together and solidified Miz as a star, even coming out of that WrestleMania, still the WWE Champion. Granted, he's no longer a main event player. He hasn't been in many, many years. Will he ever be again? I highly doubt it, but that one video package they put together for Miz on that show was nothing short of, pun intended, awesome. And I know that one show, WrestleMania 27 sucked. I will tell you that much. I love the year of 2011, but WrestleMania itself sucked. So, that being said, there's some decent matches. Triple H and Undertaker's pretty good. I liked Orton and Punk. Everything else was pretty much trash. Even Edge and Del Rio was alright at best. But that one video package, if you do not watch Miz and Cena from WrestleMania 27, solely watch the video package put together for The Miz. So coming in at number 4 here on my list of favorite WrestleMania video packages is from WrestleMania 30 for John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. This was a feud that I was actually not all that for when it was initially planned or discussed or whatever in the final few months of 2013. I was thinking, I think it's way too soon to be putting Bray Wyatt in a headlining match at WrestleMania, and it was not the final match, obviously, but it was one of the top 3 or 4 top, advertised matches at the show. With the exception of the 2 world title matches with, Triple H and Bryan, and then the championship main event, Undertaker and Lesnar, then this match. But I thought the match itself was not good. After WrestleMania, the feud sucked, and they really kind of, and even John Cena winning, I still don't agree with to this day, and it kind of killed any magic that Bray Wyatt had going up to that point. But nevertheless, the video package itself was amazing. I remember when they first debuted it, I think on the St. Patrick's Day episode of Raw, or shortly around that time, it was promoting the Cena and Wyatt feud, and it was set to Legacy by Eminem, which was one of the official theme songs for WrestleMania 30 that year. And it was perfect. I mean, the whole story of John Cena trying to solidify his legacy was a bit silly, considering by that point he was already like a 14-time WWE champion. But putting that aside, the whole theme of that feud was Bray Wyatt trying to destroy John Cena's legacy, and Bray Wyatt, taunting John Cena at every turn, including costing him the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at the Rumble, then again at the Chamber pay-per-view, and just putting the mask on him and teasing the embrace the hate thing that Kane did a couple years earlier. So John Cena going heel was never really a question, was never really a possibility. It wasn't going to happen. It didn't happen. But still, that video package maybe kind of placed a doubt in your mind for even the casual fans, maybe not you. But I thought it was awesome. The video package itself, it goes a couple minutes. I know they did two different versions of it. There's one version that's longer than the other. I think they played the longer version at WrestleMania. Again, a lot like with the previous one with The Miz. Don't watch the match itself. It's not a terrible match. It's not a great match, and John Cena wins, which isn't always a bad thing, but he didn't need to win in this case. But regardless, the video package itself was fantastic and really put Bray Wyatt on the level of a star, albeit for a short period of time. And coming in at number 3 on my list of favorite WrestleMania video packages is from one of my favorite WrestleManias of all time as a fan, WrestleMania 28, for the WWE Championship, CM Punk versus Chris Jericho. Now, this was a feud that, I'm sure I'm not alone in saying this, that many people were looking forward to dating back to the summer of 2011 when Punk got white hot as WWE Champion, left the company, quotation marks or not, because technically he did leave the company, even if it was for, 8 days or whatever. But when he started calling himself the best in the world, whether you agree with that claim or not, it immediately drew comparisons to Chris Jericho, who did the same thing, during his heel run from 2008 to 2010. And during that point in time, Chris Jericho was gone from the company. So around Survivor Series, when they started airing the video packages for, It Begins or whatever the hell else, it was called, with the little boy in the school, people started getting their hopes up that it was Y2J Chris Jericho. In the end, he came back doing the whole, yeah, come on, baby, the whole trolling thing, which was awesome. At first, they hated it, but, over time, I grew to appreciate it, and I fucking love it in retrospect. But that feud was really, really well built. I was kind of slightly disappointed that the feud kind of got to a point where it focused more on Punk's back history than it did best in the world versus best in the world. And it did enhance the feud in some respects. I thought overall they kind of focused a little bit too much on that narrative, more so towards the rematch at Extreme Rules than the WrestleMania match. But they had a number of great verbal encounters on Raw leading up to WrestleMania 28. A lot of good matches, including inside the Chamber. They not a one-on-one match before Mania, but they crossed paths a few times in tag team matches and whatever. And I was really hyped for the match. The match itself was good, was very good. I thought the Extreme Rules match was better, but this was still a WrestleMania-worthy main event for the WWE Championship. Not the main event, but one of the main events. But anyway, the video package itself, not set to a song of any kind like the Miz one or the Cena and Wyatt one, just, typical production music or whatever, but showing Miz, not Miz, I'm sorry. I just said Miz, that's why I said his name. I was just thinking of that video package. But they showed Punk from his early goings, his early beginnings in WWE, from his ECW days to becoming world champion, as Intercontinental champion, whatever, and so on and so forth, and winning Money in the Bank. And, Jericho just kind of saying, you are not the best in the world, that's me. Calling, CM Punk a bastard and making fun of his sister and his mother and his drunken dad, his alcoholic father, so on and so forth. And it was really, really well done. And the best part of the video package comes at the end. And by this point, CM Punk had been WWE champion for, a pretty solid period of time. He would hold that title up until the Rumble of the following year. But by this point in time, he was already WWE champion for about 3 or 4 or 5 months. So a pretty good WWE title reign going. But the best part of the video package for me came at the end when CM Punk said, "I am the best in the world." And then Jericho finishes it off, "At what I do." Dun, da, 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 dun. Or he says pipe bomb, and then the video package just finishes off, and it's great. So an excellent video package for an excellent match with 2 excellent competitors at WrestleMania 28. So we get to my second favorite video package here from WrestleMania 29. And again, a lot like WrestleMania 27, a shit show. And it's funny too, because all these WrestleManias, with the exception of 30 and 28, which are two of my favorites, along with WrestleMania 31 and 24, but I wasn't a fan for that technically. But you know what I mean. 29 and 27 sucked. I thought 27 was a disappointment with all the great build-up, and the show itself wasn't great. At the time, I didn't really mind it, but the show sucked. Let's face it. But WrestleMania 29, I knew going in it was going to be awful because the match card was all right at best. It didn't live up to it didn't even meet those expectations. It was just kind of a 4-hour Raw, essentially. And it just wasn't a really good show. But one of my favorite video packages in WrestleMania history came at that show for the main event between John Cena and The Rock. Rock and Cena 2, twice in a lifetime for the WWE Championship. And they aired this video package, I think, in like mid-March on one Raw where the two guys weren't even on the show. Like, I know Rock isn't always going to be on the show, but John Cena missed a Raw too. And in their absence, they aired this video package set to, what's it called? Letters in the Sky by Civil Twilight. And what I love so much about this video package was because, and I'll probably do another video at some point counting down my favorite video packages of all time, period, or just non-WrestleMania video packages, but this video kind of deserves a category all of its own. But one of my other favorite video packages of all time, if not my favorite number one favorite video package of all time, came in 2009. John Cena and Randy Orton in an Iron Man match for the WWE Championship at Bragging Rights. Again, very good match, not like my favorite match of all time. I actually didn't even see it for the first time up until a couple of years ago on the WWE Network. But the video package for the match was incredible, recapping the entire feud between Cena and Orton, not just in 2009, but going back to 2007 and 2008, and then finally in 2009, and also set to Letters in the Sky by Civil Twilight. And I thought it was the perfect song for that video package. I would listen to it all the time. I already had the song on my iPod by that point. So when they used the same song for that video package between Cena and Rock, I lost my shit because it hit the theme of that match so perfectly. And I thought the build, I mean, granted, I was more excited for Rock and Cena 1, obviously, than a second one. But I thought the promos between Rock and Cena were better in 2013 leading up to their second match than they were for the first match. The first match was all about like poop jokes and my dick is bigger than yours and all that kind of shit, all that kind of silly shit. And they didn't really start to get serious until right before the event. WrestleMania 29, they really got serious. Cena was all about redemption. I mean, there was never really a doubt in anyone's mind that he wasn't the guy in WWE. But, I mean, his 2012 could have been worse. But if you didn't watch WWE from 2012 to 2013 coming off of WrestleMania 28, you would have thought that 2012, and technically it was, both professionally and maybe even personally, who knows, that 2012 was the single worst year ever for John Cena. In a way, it was, like I said. But he did win a few matches here and there throughout 2012 that they didn't really include in the video package, and thankfully so. But after they show Rock beating Cena at WrestleMania 28, again, also set to this song, it's just phenomenal all the way around. But they show John Cena in that money shot, the beautiful shot of John Cena just sitting on the stage at WrestleMania 28, just heartbroken that he'd lost, shocked, stunned, and just in complete disbelief. One of my favorite pictures of all time, a picture that is worth not 1,000, but rather 1,000,000 words of John Cena just sitting there speechless, trying to comprehend what had just happened. The mistake he made that cost him the biggest match of his career up to that point in his career, if not ever, against The Rock at WrestleMania 28. And he slowly makes his way back up the ramp. And then from there in the video package, they show him getting the shit kicked out of him by Brock Lesnar, getting beat by Big Johnny after being turned on by Big Show, losing the WWE Championship matches against CM Punk and failing to win that title up until WrestleMania 29. Losing to Dolph Ziggler and getting betrayed by AJ Lee at TLC 2012, and then going on to finally win the Rumble and saying he got one more match, one more shot, another shot in a lifetime for the WWE Championship against the great one, The Rock. And immediately after that, they show The Rock winning the WWE Championship from CM Punk. It would have been cool if they included when he said he was going for it the night after WrestleMania the year before. That would have been a cool little tie-in. But anyway, they show Rock beating Punk for the championship at Royal Rumble 2013. And the various encounters those two had from Rumble to WrestleMania between Cena and Rock, all their verbal battles, all their physical brawls, which I don't think there were many of them, but also their highlights of their past match at WrestleMania 28. And again, a lot like the previous selection here between Jericho and Punk, the money line in this promo comes at the end when The Rock says, "And at WrestleMania 29, John, I'm gonna beat you again." And then you get a great shot of the two standing in the middle of the ring as the song fades out, looking at the WrestleMania 29 sign. And every time I watch that video package, I get fucking goosebumps. And it's been 3 years since that initially aired, and I still love the hell out of that video package. But it does come close to beating out number one, but not close enough. My favorite WrestleMania video package of all time in my near 8 years as a wrestling fan comes at, and I'm sure you know where this is going, WrestleMania 30 between Daniel Bryan and Triple H, set to Monster by Imagine Dragons. Now, it completely blew me away. The video package itself, but the fact that they didn't show this before WrestleMania. I'm sure they, hyped up the match somehow between Daniel Bryan and Triple H at that WrestleMania, with the winner going on to, contend for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in the main event against the then champion Randy Orton and Batista in a triple threat match. I'm sure they hyped it up somehow. But I remember, I watched SmackDown that week too, when they have all the fucking video packages and shit. Maybe they did, I have no idea. But the first time I saw the video package was on the kickoff show. And after watching it, I said to myself, that is the single greatest video package I probably have ever seen. And that's why I'll probably do another video at some point counting down my favorite non-WrestleMania video packages, because this is going to lay either list, just because it's so amazingly well done. Again, set to Monster by Imagine Dragons. It shows Daniel Bryan's evolution, with Josh Matthews saying, on commentary at that time, the WWE Universe is starting to become believers in Daniel Bryan, from his evolution on NXT to winning the United States Championship, one of my favorite matches of all time against The Miz and Night of Champions 2010, becoming Money in the Bank, becoming World Heavyweight Champion, doing the Yes Chance, beating John Cena for the WWE title, then getting screwed out of said championship by the Authority Triple H, who he faced at this WrestleMania, and having to relinquish that championship to Randy Orton. And he walks back up the stage at, the Staples Center in Los Angeles at SummerSlam 2013, just completely discouraged and disheartened and whatever. And then finally he goes, no, no, no. And the colors come back, and he starts taking the fight to Triple H and the Authority. And he says to Stephanie, and it looks like he's saying it to Triple H, but I distinctly remember him saying it to Stephanie in that great brawl in that episode of Raw, which also might have been the St. Patrick's Day episode. And he says to Stephanie, you hit like a girl! And they start beating the shit out of Daniel Bryan, and they start battling back and forth, and it's just incredible. And set to the song, like I said, by Monster by Imagine Dragons, just from start to finish, just beautifully well done, showing Daniel Bryan's evolution as a main event level performer, from his days in NXT to 4 years later as a WrestleMania main event level competitor, going on to later beat Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship, or rather beat him for the opportunity to wrestle for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in the main event that same night against Orton and Batista. I know they showed the video package on the kickoff show. I'm pretty sure they aired the same video package, when the show started, right before his match with Triple H, which technically didn't kick off the show. That was with Rock, Hogan, and Stone Cold. Then they went into that video package, and then that match with Triple H. I don't know if you can find it online. The video package you can, that version of it from WrestleMania. I don't know if you can find the video package online. I mean, granted, I guess you can watch it on the WWE Network. They have the episode in its entirety. But they aired the same video package the next night on Raw, the always amazing post-WrestleMania episodes of Raw. You can watch it, like I said, on the network. They have the episode in its entirety. But they aired that same video package on that show, with the only exception being that they would show, instead of that ending with Daniel Bryan, with the whole Yes movement and whatever, that great episode of Raw when he rallied all of his supporters behind him, and they, occupied Raw, or whatever it was called at that time. I'm pretty sure it was called Occupy Raw. So from that point forward, the original video package ends there. But the remake version from that aired the next night on Raw actually covers the main event of WrestleMania with him winning the championship. I don't think it shows video. I'm pretty sure it just shows, just still shots of him with the championship, and then he came out to kick off Raw that night and thank the WWE Universe, and I'm only a man, and it leads to that part in the song when Daniel Bryan's battling back against the Authority. Again, magical moment. It's just great from start to finish, and really just showing up Daniel Bryan, solidifying the fact that he really was, from start to finish in his WWE career, made to be a WWE main eventer and, ultimately a WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So, again, amazing video package for Daniel Bryan, and my personal favorite video package of all time in WrestleMania history, of course, with the obvious exception of Rock and Stone Cold, set to My Way by Limp Bizkit at a WrestleMania 17. But like you mentioned earlier, I didn't want to mention that one, or I didn't want to include that one, just because it's always the de facto number one, because it's so fucking great. But anyway, those are my top 5 favorite WrestleMania video packages in WrestleMania history. My personal favorite top 5. Your list, I'm sure, differs. I would love to hear your list right here in the comment section on this video, on Twitter at WrestleRant, on Facebook at facebook.com/graham.jason.matthews. All the links are down below in the description box. I appreciate your viewing, comments, likes, and everything else. I really appreciate it. We're only 23 days away from WrestleMania 32. A lot more WrestleMania 32 content coming in the weeks ahead. So until then, guys, until next week's video, which I'm sure, might rank maybe my favorite Undertaker matches at WrestleMania. I'm not exactly sure as of right now. I know 2 weeks from now I'll be talking about here in the video blog my experience at SmackDown in Boston on March 22nd, which is going to be amazing. Mere weeks before WrestleMania 32, so that's going to be incredible. That video blog for that week will be dedicated to talking about that experience. Next week, I don't know. It's probably going to be, like I said, my top 5 maybe Undertaker matches at WrestleMania, which would be cool, a lot like we did with the Shane O'Mac thing last week. And I believe this is the 100th episode of the video blog. I forgot to mention that earlier. I probably should have. I think it's the 100th anyway. I checked a couple of months ago, and I think if everything lines up correctly, this is the 100th episode of the Random Video Blog, which we started doing around this time about 2 years ago, which is an awesome anniversary. So again, thank you for your support and keeping the show, alive for as long as it has been. Hopefully we'll continue to go for years to come. So again, guys, thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the road to WrestleMania. I'm Graham Matthews, and I'll catch you folks down the road.